So when it goes into our body, we have 5 types of songs. What we say, the prana, apana, vyana, udana and samana. So this interrelationship of 5 kinds of life energies is actually the 5 phases of Gayatri. So in this way, the spiritual science can now slowly attain a status of a number of experiments, observations and inferences which lead what Param Puja Gurudev has given as Prajna Yoga, the science of wisdom.
So if I understand you correctly, sir, you're telling me that indeed this approach that has been used in the scientific field of experimentation, setting up experiment, setting up control groups, setting up models, is also something that Param Puja Gurudev has implemented to understand the yoga. Is that correct?
Correct, 100%.
So he has actually done experimentation. Is that what you're saying?
He has done not only on himself first, for about 24 years, continuously, non-stop, per day, 8 hours. And with all that, he used to read and take part in that freedom fighting at that time. And he used to help a lot of workers in freedom fighters, Swatantra Sangrami Senani. And all that he personally experimented, and after that he started developing a group of people who can do this for him. And how did he do it? He did it with a very, what we call the scientific way. How science develops is because of the literature, the magazines to which they contribute. And all the people read the magazines, the articles, and after reading the articles, some people
Try to
represent and do that and that. So similarly, as a spiritual science magazine, he started Akhanda Jyoti. And that Akhanda Jyoti, single-handed, 64 pages of Hindi articles without any advertisement. And throughout his life he maintained, and he used to write all the articles himself, comparing with what he said to others and how they have reported. So his Akhanda Jyoti magazine is our spiritual science journal. And that is where we find repeatedly in the articles he talks about the conscious mind, the superconscious mind. He writes about so many aspects of subtle powers of matter, what we call herbs, when you use it in fire. And using herbs in fire is what technically called is yajna.
And so that is very important. It's actually got a practical value to elevate your spirituality.
Right.
Absolutely. Oh, see, each one of those herbs have proven.
A very rough example he used to give me when I was very young. I was doing my MSc at that time. So I was telling, I never find any influence of this yajna affecting anybody.
Yeah.
He said, you know that the herbs that we are using in yajna is 33 types. And the number of our backbones are also 33. And he says that these 33 herbs are directly related in developing those 33 bones.
Wonderful.
And then he said they are so subtle that you don't know that the atmosphere is influencing the atmosphere and you also. But if you want a proof, he said a very rough example. Suppose of dry mirchi, you just eat yourself. So you will find some air and some cough, but individual. But suppose to put it in fire, what happens? Whether the other man knows it or not, whether he is aware of it or not, he is equally affected. But because it is rough and crude, he is able to understand. But the spiritual or the sattvic effects of herbs, you may not feel it, but it affects the mind. So that's how he used to explain.
But does it make a difference as to what state of mind you have while you do the yajna?
Yeah, if you are aware of it, if you concentrate on it.
Oh, I see.
And
its impact will be more.
Very, very effective. What my personal experience is, sometimes when I do the yajna with burden, Okay, and sometimes we feel with an interest. Certainly, I can say that is about 50 times more influence
Really? And this is something
and
you personally see, yeah.
personal.
My goodness. That's amazing. So, if you know, you were very fortunate to have had this experience of having Param Pujya Gurudev in
Gurudev.
your life. Not everybody is so fortunate, even to be at feet of somebody like you. What do you think has happened? What would have happened to you if Puja Gurudev was not in your life? Do you ever think of that? Do you
I
think
always think,
you always think about that?
and not only I always think, sometimes I warn my little children
Yeah.
that you be careful with Gurudev. He will sweep you off your legs. You will be thrown and thrown and thrown into the depths of consciousness. And again, I feel that I have, I am forced by Param Puja Gurudev's thought waves that go deeper and deeper and deeper, which I could not have done myself. So whatever I am trying to tell or whatever I am trying to give, I always find that there is 99% an extra power is coming out, oozing out. And this positive approach, if all of the world can have, I think the world will change. That is what Param Puja Gurudev used to say, revolution in thinking, Vichara Kranti Abhiyan.